Let me guess. You want to go to Japan. You have never been there. You have only 7 days and you have no idea what to do, what not to do, where to go, and you want to get a few tips. Let's talk about all the things you should and shouldn't do when you go on your first trip to Japan, and I can guarantee you that if you follow these tips that I will give you in this video, you will have a fantastic time. And I know that because I have been there myself a few times. I went as a student, my partner's from Japan, and I went to all the places that I'm telling you on this video with friends and family. So this is a bulletproof plan. Just follow these tips and I'm sure you're gonna have a fantastic time. And I'm making this video for you guys because I had a friend asking me literally last week, "Hey Emilio, I'm going to Japan and I don't know what to do, you are the expert." When I was thinking of the things I want to tell my friend, and then I said, you know what, I'm going to make a video and I'll put this on the internet, because a lot of my students, after they get their PR in Australia, after they pass their IELTS or their PT test, they want to like celebrate. And for some of them, going to Japan is like not only a dream, but it is maybe that celebration after they achieve a big goal here in Australia. And by the way, if you are new here, I'm an English teacher. I help students with IELTS and PT preparation. If you want to pass IELTS and PT, just click the link in the description. All my info is there. I also do natty translations. Let's talk about the duration of your trip. I would recommend minimum do 7 days. I think like for your first trip to Japan, 7 days, 10 days or 2 weeks would be ideal. Of course, if you can do more than 2 weeks, incredible. Do everything on this video and then, maybe go to other cities. On your first trip, you should go to Tokyo. A part of me wants to tell you guys, oh, don't go to Tokyo, go somewhere else, go to like countryside Japan. But look, the reality is on your first trip, you have to go to Tokyo. You have a lot of places, a lot of things. And then maybe on your second or third trip to Japan, you can go and explore and do other things. The longer you stay, the more things you can do. So we will start this video talking about Tokyo. Then we'll talk about day trips that you could do if you're gonna stay, let's say, the 7 or the 10 days. And if you stay the full 2 weeks, we will talk about Osaka, Kyoto, Nara, because that will be Kansai area and that will be a fantastic addition to your Japan trip. Before we talk about Tokyo, it is important to talk about how to get to Tokyo. The closest airports are Narita Airport and Haneda Airport. Narita is by far the most popular airport. It takes about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes on the train, depending on where you're staying. So I would recommend to keep that in mind, because you can take taxis, but oh my god, the taxi is going to be quite expensive. So better to use just the train. Haneda Airport is a bit closer to Tokyo. The only problem, it's not really a problem, but it's just that Haneda Airport is not that popular, so there might be less flights to get there, but also a good option. At the airport, you might find some places where you can get SIM cards, and there are also pocket Wi-Fis. In my humble opinion, I do not recommend you get any type of SIM card or travel SIM card or the pocket Wi-Fi in Japan. I have seen people, friends and other people use it. I think the most comfortable thing in the planet is just get an eSIM or simply pay for roaming in your country wherever you're watching. So if you're in Australia, just pay for roaming, or just try to get a nice international plan, because the reality is, well, this might have changed, but in my experience, a lot of the travel SIM cards in Japan, they always, it's not that they have a problem, but they're rather slow. So you might be getting a 5 gigabyte travel SIM that is stuck with like 3G or like very slow internet. And if you're gonna be using it for Google Maps or basically to check things online, you want maybe more accuracy or like also like a faster bandwidth. So I would say just whatever carrier you've got, pay for roaming. That will save you a bunch of time. Or you can use an eSIM. I haven't personally used eSIMs, but I know some of you out there use eSIMs. I had a friend who recently went on an eSIM and had no problems. So that is probably the biggest thing to tell you when it comes to accessing the internet. Now that we covered that we covered the 2 airports and we covered basically how you're going to be checking things, let's talk about the key places. And don't worry, all of this is in the video description, so you can go ahead and check all the names and you can copy and paste it, make your own list, go crazy with Google Maps or whatever app you use. And here we go, in no particular order. Places you should not miss when you go to Tokyo on your first trip to Japan. Let's talk first about temples, because a lot of you maybe want to experience temples and like that part of Japanese culture. For that, Tokyo has many temples, but probably the top two that I would recommend on this video and for your first trip are Asakusa and Meiji Jingu, also known as Meiji Shrine. Asakusa is really nice because there are a bunch of restaurants, a bunch of little shops and places around that temple, and it is really popular. You can get amazing photos. And then you have Meiji Shrine. Meiji Shrine is huge, and compared to Asakusa, Meiji Shrine is in a more quiet area, so it's quite nice because you have basically two parts of Japan. You have like the busier, more modern Japan, and close to Meiji Shrine you have something a bit more relaxed, a bit more quiet. So again, both are incredible places. This is not a temple, but another place that I would recommend if you go to Tokyo is the Imperial Palace. You would need to check online because there are specific times to go around or to enter. When I went to the Imperial Palace, I was a bad Latino and I did not check, so we couldn't go in. Still, even if you don't go in, it's beautiful. It is a nice walk. It is around a business district, so it is more on the quiet, relaxing side. This could be an activity that maybe you do at the beginning of the day. Let's talk about famous parks, because Tokyo is huge. I think there are many parks, but if I have to recommend you some parks, I would tell you two. The first one is the very relaxed park, which is called Yoyogi Park, Yoyogi Koen. This park is also really nice. It's very pretty, super quiet, so perfect for maybe a relaxing morning or maybe like in between places. You could maybe go to that park, have a bit of a relaxing afternoon, or maybe like after lunch, or you could go to a cafe and then you go to that park. Again, it's a beautiful park and it's a nice walk, so I would say it is good to go there. A big plus is that Yoyogi Park, it's close to Harajuku, so it's walking distance. So you could go to Harajuku, there are a bunch of shops and places to eat, etc. So again, that's another plus of going to Yoyogi Park. So you have busy life and also you have like the relaxing or the more quiet side of it, which is the park. And again, very much lots of Japanese vibes there in terms of like that relaxing atmosphere. Then we have Ueno Park. Ueno is super famous. It's got, again, it's a big place, a famous place, let's say, for cherry blossoms, or simply like a huge park. So I think it is worth going. Even just walking around the train station, you can find like some nice souvenirs. And there is also the Ueno Zoo. I personally haven't been. I think like in this whole video, there is only like two places I haven't been. One is Ueno Zoo. Again, maybe this might be good if you go with kids. If not, you could skip it, check it out, and again, have a feel. But maybe not too bad for like a short walk, or like maybe having a break in between places, depending on when you're going. So we've got Shinjuku, where you have the Shinjuku crossing, where you have the Godzilla. Then you have Shibuya, where we have the Shibuya crossing, you know, that super famous street crossing. You have to go to Shinjuku and Shibuya, so you get your photo with Godzilla. You go to the big Don Quixote, and then you've got Shibuya for like busy lifestyle restaurants, etc. So those two places really worth going. I would say anywhere between after 5 p.m. is quite good, because it is like that nice nightlife. And another one that is quite good to go is Odaiba, because in Odaiba you've got actually two more. You've got Odaiba because in Odaiba it's like a man-made island. It is really cool because if you're a Digimon fan, there are parts of Digimon in Odaiba. Also, there is a huge Gundam, so also really nice. You've got beautiful city views, there are arcades, and there is like a mini shopping center in Odaiba, so again, quite good. It is also close to Team Labs, so if you want to go to Team Labs, that's a big plus. And last but not least, the land of anime. So if you love anime, going from Dragon Ball, Naruto, Saint Seiya, and the list goes on and on. If you like anime and you are in Tokyo, you have to go to Akihabara. So go crazy, go to get your anime figures, go to eat some delicious ramen, just go and explore, get all the things from your favorite anime at Akihabara. But you might see that there are stores all around Japan, but Akihabara is is such an iconic place for anyone who likes anime. This is basically the Tokyo section. This is plenty. Now, there are other places I'll put here as a bonus. You have Tokyo Tower and the Skytree. And again, there is a massive list, but I would say to begin with, this would be quite good. Another good one is Tsukiji Market if you like fresh seafood. But now let's talk about day trips, because again, you have 7 to 10 to 2 weeks, yeah, in Japan. And you might be thinking, okay, I don't want to stay only in Tokyo, I want to get a different feel. So, if that's you, one really nice place to visit is Kamakura. Kamakura is a city that is around an hour away from Tokyo, and Kamakura has a huge Buddha. It is really cool. And again, for example, if you go to Asakusa, if you go to Meiji Shrine, you're getting that feel of like Japanese culture in terms of the temples. But then if you go to this one in Kamakura, this is like next level temple. That's like, oh my god, I am in Japan. Because you have the Buddha, you have like the Zen garden at the beginning, at the entrance, sorry, and you can get souvenirs, you can get your lucky charms, your protections, the omamoris, right? So again, Kamakura, it's I think a must go if you can, just for that experience alone. But a big plus is that around Kamakura there are also like a bunch of shops. There is a really famous street full of restaurants, souvenirs, sweets, cafes. You can just basically spend easily a few hours there, or like about an hour to 2 hours. So you can go check out the Buddha, take some nice photos, then go for a bit of shopping, and then go back to Tokyo. And you would still have time. So if you leave in the morning, you have more than enough time to then come back in the afternoon. You can mix up some of the places that I'm telling you. Highly recommended Kamakura. Oh my god, I really enjoyed my time in Kamakura. Actually, I want to go again. Anyways, another one, Chiba. Close to Tokyo we have Chiba, and I think on your first trip to Japan there might be many reasons to go to Chiba, but the two biggest reasons are Tokyo Disneyland and Tokyo Disney Sea. If you want, like, let's say the more traditional type of Disneyland, if you have never been to Disneyland, maybe you can go to Tokyo Disneyland, because this is like Magic Kingdom basically, right? But in Japan. But if you want maybe like a different experience, maybe you want to try different rides, then maybe you can go to Disney Sea. Or if you are a true Disney fan, maybe you can go to both. I leave that one up to you. It's maybe one of those places that if you can go and you are a big Disney fan, you have to go, you have to check it out. It is magical. That's what people say. And then last but not least, when we think about day trips in Tokyo, I have to tell you, going to Shizuoka Prefecture. You can go to Shizuoka, or you can go to Yokohama, or like around Yokohama area, because Yokohama is another big city. It's obviously smaller than Tokyo, but maybe if you cannot go to Osaka, or like if you cannot go to the Kansai area, which is gonna come next very soon, maybe you might just say, you know what, I'm going to then you might say, I'm going to go to Yokohama. I mean, another city, there's plenty to do there. That's the second place I haven't been in this video. Other than that, I have been everywhere. And Yokohama, really nice place. But I said Shizuoka Prefecture because around Shizuoka, it's actually a really nice area to see Mt.Fuji. If you're going to Osaka and you get on the bullet train, you're going to see Mt.Fuji for like, I don't know, let's say 2 to 5 minutes max. So to avoid that, because maybe you like photography, maybe you just want to have a relaxing day, you're gonna be moving around, maybe you want to rest a bit, you could put a day to go to a city like, for example, to go to Shimizu or to go to Atami. I have been to those two cities. You need to move a little bit when it comes to getting to those cities, but it's nothing too crazy, and you can actually find really nice viewing spots to see Mt.Fuji. There is one in Atami. I'll put here in the video description the name of the place and everything. This is where I went. And unfortunately, when I visited this place, you know, it was a cloudy day, so it took hours to see a pinch of Mt.Fuji. But when I was in Shizuoka, that was a completely different experience. In Shimizu. In Shimizu, incredible view. I remember being around the coastline and also around a hotel and mountain called Nihondaira. Oh my god, what a nice Mount Fuji view. So if you like having a relaxing day in your holiday, I would say consider doing that. Or it could be like a technical stop. So you can just take the bullet train, stop for a few hours, and then you are on your way to go to Kansai. So depending on how long you're going, this might be more than enough, right? So you have a lot of things to do in Tokyo, you have day trips, and well, then, you know, you can go home. But if you want the extra adventure, if you are full of energy, and if you say, no, I want to see as much as I can, Emilio, then now I have to talk to you about Kansai area, about Western Japan. And for that we have 3 cities that I recommend: Kyoto, Nara, and then Osaka. As much as I like Osaka, you already went to Tokyo, so maybe going to another big city is not like, wow, how nice. So first you need to go to Kyoto. Kyoto has a bunch of temples. There are so many temples in Kyoto. But if I have to recommend you 3 temples, this is what, again, everyone tells you, but these ones are so good. So you have Kinkakuji, which is the Golden Temple. Then you have Kiyomizu dera. To get to Kiyomizu dera, you have to walk on a hilly street. So it's good to keep that in mind. And everywhere in Kyoto can be very busy because of over-tourism. And then the last one, which is probably my favorite out of the 3, is Fushimi Inari. Fushimi Inari is in a mountain and you can go at any time. So if you are someone who likes hiking, you could easily go early in the morning, like I'm talking 6 to 8 a.m. Or you could go in the afternoon, or you could go maybe in the evening. Just, you know, depending on the time of the year that you go, you need to be mindful, because you don't want to be maybe, you know, hiking or like going, you know, all the way up, and then it's like, I don't know, 30 degrees, super humid in summer, or maybe you don't want to freeze in winter. So again, you have to organize your day to then find out what would work best for you. But definitely those 3 places are a must. I have to also include Nijo Castle, because Nijo Castle is, again, if you're thinking of traditional Japan or like place with sliding doors and that nice atmosphere of a really old school Japan, you must go to Nijo Castle. In Kyoto, I would say you could easily stay 2 nights if you like that atmosphere, because Kyoto is gonna be super relaxed. Not many, I mean, there are places to go shopping, of course, but it's not like a big city. So if you really want somewhere to like detach from the big city vibes and something to relax, I would say you could even stretch it to 3 days in Kyoto, no worries. Another good thing is that if you stay 2 to 3 days in Kyoto, you don't need to go like all in a rush. One time I went to Kyoto, you know, with a friend, and it was such a rush because it was like, okay, we need to go to this temple, to this other temple, and then we stay one day, then go to the other one and the other one. So, you know, this person was telling me like, Emilio, oh my god, I'm tired, I want to rest, I want to take my time. And maybe I think 2 to 3 days in Kyoto would be ideal. But again, something to think, you know, and decide with your travel partner, or to think by yourself. Then we have another city. This one could easily be a day trip, which is Nara. Nara is beautiful. It is so popular because of its park, and the park has a bunch of deers, and it's just really cool. Just walking around, you see the deers, you bow to the deers bow back to you. Not all of them, of course, but some do. You can feed them. It's just incredible. And you have also a really nice temple in Nara. It is also, again, a small city, so really good to like have that mix, because it's not like all big city vibe full of technology. This is a bit more like, let's say, traditional Japan. Nara has got also a museum close to this temple that I'm telling you, so if you want a bit of history, incredible. I also have to tell you that to go to Kyoto and Nara, you can take the Shinkansen, the bullet train, and it is really quick. To Nara you cannot use the Shinkansen, but to Kyoto you can. To go to Kyoto, all you do is you go to Osaka, and then from Osaka you catch the bullet train. It takes only 15 minutes. You could take the regular train, which is half an hour, but I think a pro tip in this video is, where possible, use always the bullet train, because you want to be efficient. Time is money, but in your Japan trip, time is experiences, time is delicious food, time is adventure, so you want to save time. And sometimes there's gonna be a lot of people around, and you maybe have to wait if you want to eat at a restaurant, or if you want to eat ramen at a place or something. So being efficient with time is crucial, okay? And then we've got Osaka. In Osaka, probably the two biggest places I would recommend are Dotonbori area, because in Dotonbori area you've got restaurants. It's like that, a Tokyo vibe, but in Osaka. There is also a nice riverboat, and that's pretty cool. You also have Osaka Castle, which is a bit more traditional, so that's just, again, really, really good. And then that might be more than enough, you know? So in your 2 weeks, I think if you make a combination of any of the places that I've told you, you will be more than safe, and that should be, you know, ideal. Then feel free to add anything to this list, but this is like, again, just really, really good places for you to visit. Let's talk about what to do and what not to do, and some practical tips, okay? Because you hear and you see things on the internet, some of these things is like, it is true, but it's not really true, you know? And Japan is not like this place that it's like outside of this universe and Japanese people are aliens. Some of the things I'll tell you are common sense for a lot of us, but you also need to know that, again, maybe they do things a little bit differently, but again, let me just tell you, let's start with some of these things. The first one, it is when it comes to moving around. You're gonna be taking the train, maybe subway, maybe some of you will be on the bus. So let's talk about rules when you are in the train in Japan. Now, a lot of my students and a lot of people watching are probably from South America. You're maybe Latino, maybe you're from Europe, maybe you're from South Asia, maybe you are from North America. I don't know, but my point is, in Japan, people are very quiet. And Japan has one big unspoken rule that people will never tell you. But don't worry, because I'm here to tell you. And it is a very simple rule. Keep peace at all cost. So do not disturb anyone. That's another way to think about that rule. And what happens is this. You see foreigners going to Japan, they get into a train, and then they're talking loudly. You can talk, okay? But the problem is, you think that you are not being loud, and you are loud. So my advice to you, and this is especially true if Spanish is your mother tongue and you are Latino, or if you speak a Romance language, but please, for the love of God, Buddha, the stars, whatever you believe in, when you are on the train, do your absolute best to speak in the softest voice possible, because you think you are not being loud, but you are. And I know that because I'm Latino and I have been very loud on a train. And then after being in Japan many times, then you learn how to adjust your voice. So do that. Try not to talk much, and please, if you use your phone, obviously no phone calls. You're going to be traveling, so you're not going to be calling people on the bus or on the train. So while you're in public transport, do not talk on the phone. It is considered rude. And again, usually if people talk loudly, it's not good. Another thing, no speakerphone. So if you're watching a video, if maybe you're asking for directions, if ChatGPT, if someone is talking to you, do not play that on speaker on your phone while you are on the train, because you will disturb people, and that's where problems begin. Tip number 2, it has to do a little bit with tip number 1. And it is that in Japan, there is no rubbish bins. And I have even complained about this. But, you know, with time, I think that the biggest tip I can give you is this. In Japan, I'll give you 2 in 1. In Japan, I don't recommend you bring a water bottle. Why? Hear me out. There are a million vending machines. So you can like literally cross a street and you're gonna find 2, 3, even more vending machines. So if you are ever thirsty, there are gonna be a lot of options for you to buy water, tea, Coke, or a soft drink, or a juice, or something. So I think carrying a water bottle is like a bit annoying in the sense that you can just go to a vending machine, you buy something, you drink it, and then in almost all vending machines, they have a tiny bin next to them. And that bin is only, listen carefully, is only for PET bottles, or like the bottles and the cans that you get from the vending machine. So in Japan, you need to be a bit efficient and you have to think, okay, I don't want to be carrying the rubbish with me, right? So it's not like there are no bins. But for example, if you're thirsty, you can buy a drink or buy something, and I would say where possible, finish it or like drink most of it. You can carry your bottle with you because again, there are like a million of those bins, so that is really easy. The problem is when you buy food and you are moving around. For example, there is this other, misconception that you cannot eat and walk in Japan. And look, it is true that you're not going to see a lot of people like walking around eating onigiri or eating a sandwich, but you can. It's not like you are not allowed and you cannot do it at all. But the thing is this. Remember what I said to you about keeping peace and maintaining peace? You could easily open your onigiri, your rice bowl, and you can eat it. You could easily buy and eat anything you want, and you can eat it on the street as long as it is not disturbing other people. For example, if you're in Tokyo and you're on a busy street, and then maybe you are eating something and you enter a store and you start touching things, or like you're leaving rubbish on the floor, that's a problem because they just want to keep their country clean. Simple as that. It's not that they have something against you. It's not this crazy rule. So you have to be strategic because maybe you could just be like, okay, I'm going to buy something that I want to eat, and you can go to the street or you can go to the side, outside of the convenience store. You've got a million options, and all convenience stores, they have a bin. They have a small bin, so you can just eat whatever you want to eat outside the convenience store, and then you go back in for a second, you throw the rubbish, and then off you go and you move on with your Japan trip. So you don't have to be that person carrying a bunch of rubbish. Now, you can also do that. You can just get a plastic bag and you carry all the rubbish if you bought a lot of things, or maybe you're going with a family or with your partner, whatever. In a lot of train stations, there are going to be bigger bins. So think about that train station, almost always big bins, and then you can just, throw the rubbish there. But again, be reasonable. Don't dump a bunch of rubbish. I think you will not be doing that, but it's worth letting you know on the video. Now we have to talk about where to stay. So for this one, I will leave that to your discretion, but I would say that you have a few options. Option one, if you are thinking of like saving money and you're going by yourself, maybe think of capsule hotels because usually they might be a bit cheaper. Of course, there is the option of Airbnb. I don't know if this is because I'm getting old and now I'm just thinking just go and get a hotel. The thing is this, in Japan, as you probably have heard, customer service is incredible, and a cheap hotel, it's probably still going to be really good. So I would just spend a bit more, and instead of staying in an Airbnb, maybe using Google Translate, maybe having possible problems with the host or whatnot, I would just pay a bit more, stay in a nice hotel, and probably also in a really nice location. And it might be, again, a bit more expensive, but more comfortable. And we want that because you will be tired. You're going to be walking a lot. You're going to be moving places. You're going to be checking things with your phone. You'll be good tired in your trip. It is important to get a good rest. So my advice would be just stay in hotels. You don't need to stay always in a 5-star hotel, as I just told you, but you could stay like in somewhere nice. And then just have a good time. But again, this is more about checking hotel deals and this and that, so that's your homework. I leave that up to you. Now, we talked about hotels, Airbnbs. We have to start talking about how you pay for things, right? So if you're watching this and you are in Australia, I would highly recommend getting a travel card, using a bank like ING Direct, because they have free or like zero ATM fees both in Australia and internationally. So that is probably like the easiest thing that you can do. But of course, you can also use other options like, for example, Revolut or TransferWise. I always, well, in my last few trips for the last 5 years, I have been using Wise when I am in Japan, and Wise is just incredible. Well, to be fair, I've used it in Japan, South America, and Europe, and in the USA. It is just incredible. It works really well. If you work with Revolut, it's probably the same thing. You get a card, you can transfer money into it, different currencies, super easy to use in Japan. I have almost never been in a situation where I cannot use my Wise card. And you could also use your credit card basically. So if you've got a credit card, you can pay with credit card. I used to think, oh, in Japan it's only cash, blah blah blah, but not really. So hear me out, you do need cash. We're going to talk about in a second of where to get your cash, but remember, try to get a card with 0 to close to non ATM fees internationally, or maybe something like TransferWise or Revolut, so you can save a bit of money there. Also, they have really good exchange rates. And if you have never heard of Wise or Revolut, I would leave you the link of TransferWise because that's the one that I use, and I've never had any problems with them. I've used them for many years, and again, that's like the mini help for the sponsor of this video. Okay, where to get out your cash? What I have done in all my trips is 7-Eleven ATMs. That's the way to go. I find a 7-Eleven, all these 7-Eleven ATMs have got little to no fees, super easy to use. You can just press English, get your cash out, and you're good to go. Also, other 7-Eleven, sorry, not other 7-Elevens, other convenience stores like Lawson, Family Mart have got ATMs as well. So maybe it's not as nice as the one in 7-Eleven. I don't really know. Maybe it is that there are many 7-Elevens in Japan. Also, if you go to like shopping centers or like a big mall like Aeon Mall, for example, or maybe you're walking around downtown and you're at a big shopping center, that's probably a good place to take cash out. And I remember that in both Tokyo's airport, in Narita airport, and in Osaka's international airport, in Kanku, you can also find ATMs, and it's not too bad. Usually, in a lot of countries around the world, when you use the ATM at the airport, it is like, oh my god, you are overcharging me with the bank fees and whatnot, ATM fees. But in my experience at Japanese airports, it's not bad at all. So you could also do that. You could arrive, and if you have a bit of time, you're waiting for your luggage, whatnot, or maybe you are still organizing the train, maybe, you know, you can just quickly go get some cash out. How much will really depend on what you're thinking of doing. Maybe you can take about, let's say, 20 to 50,000 yen, and that might be okay depending on how long you stay and depending on what you want to do. I would say that you will mostly use cash when going to temples, and there might be some shops where they don't accept card, or the worst thing that could happen is they don't accept your credit card, or your credit card doesn't work, and then you try with Wise and it doesn't work, which almost never happens. Then you have some cash. I would say just maybe take that much and then you see how you go, and if anything you use it and it's all good. And now, talking about money, another important tip. You will be carrying a lot of coins. Let me tell you one more time. A lot of coins. Don't underestimate the amount of coins you will get to carry in Japan. So I would recommend get a separate coin pouch for your coins. And again, you're gonna have a blast, you know, paying using them, but you will get a bunch of coins, and the coins are so useful for your vending machines. So if you get coins, don't be like, oh my god, so boring coins. Don't worry, you will use them, and that would be, again, essential. It's gonna be really important. Otherwise, you're gonna be carrying a bunch of coins in your pocket. I don't like that. If you don't mind, then, you know, no worries, that's all good. Two more things which are really important in your first Japan trip. The first one has to do with moving around. You're gonna be catching the train, you're gonna be catching buses, and what you will need is a train card. The most popular one is called Suica. It's got a little penguin. Now you can even register online and get your Suica online on your phone with like Apple Wallet and whatnot. I haven't done that, I still have mine. So what you could do is You can basically go to any station or anywhere where you would get on a train, right? You can just ask for help, or you can just get your card. It's really easy, and you can put all the train machines in English, and then you can just select how much money you put in. You could put, again, you know how I told you to take out 20 to 50,000 yen? You could put 10,000 yen. It's around $100. And again, you can just put cash. You can use your cash to put it into your card, or you could do it all online. Worst case scenario, if you do have a lot of money, or if you end up with a bit of money in your Suica card, you could use it to pay in 7-Eleven and in other convenience stores. Maybe not in every convenience store, so I would always ask if you can pay with your Suica card. So don't worry. Worst case scenario, if you have like 10, 20, 30 bucks left in your card, you could still use it to pay for some things, or to pay for coin lockers, which are really, really useful when you're doing strategic stops. The other thing to tell you is to get Shinkansen pass. I already told you to get the Shinkansen. Check online, get the Shinkansen pass if you're going to be moving around between cities, because you're going to be saving a bunch of time on your first trip to Japan. I wouldn't recommend anyone to drive in Japan. You will go crazy on your first trip to Japan if you start driving, especially if you're going to Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, all these cities. You do not want to be driving there. I would recommend getting a car, but that's for another video, not for this one, not for your first trip, okay? So no car, train, Suica card, and Shinkansen pass. And the last thing that you have to do in your Japan trip is just to learn a bit of Japanese. Look, I am super passionate about learning Japanese. I love the language. This video is not about teaching you how to speak Japanese. I'm going to go with like the super basic vocab that you need, and this is like the most essential vocabulary that you need to use in your Japan trip. And you want to use it so that you are showing whoever is around you. You're basically telling Japanese people, hey, I care about you guys. I am trying. I know I don't speak Japanese, but I'm trying. I want to be a good tourist. And maybe for you it's like, oh, it's just a word, but trust me, one of these ones in the right moment is going to make a big difference, and they will know what you're trying to say. So let's begin with like the most basic one, and I'm sure all of you watching, you know this one, which is saying thank you. A lot of people say arigato, and there's nothing wrong with only saying arigato, because arigato means thank you. But almost all Japanese people, I don't want to say 99.9%, but you will almost always hear people say arigato gozaimasu. You will almost never hear a Japanese person only saying arigato. You can get into that situation, but again, that's for another video. So I would say, if you want to be a bit more polite, and if you want to be that foreigner or that tourist saying, hey, I'm trying, and I'm trying to, like, you know, be as polite as I can, don't just say arigato, say arigato gozaimasu, and boom. They will be like, ooh, nice. He said, or she said, arigato gozaimasu, and not just arigato. For my Spanish-speaking people, it is not the exact translation, but I want you to imagine this. Someone goes to your country, or someone says to you, gracias, or gracias. Or if someone says to you, oh, muchas gracias. Arigato gozaimasu doesn't mean muchas gracias, but it's like the same feeling. It's like you're saying thank you a lot the right way. The second word is the word that you will hear the most in your Japan trip, most likely. And it is the word sumimasen. Sumimasen. It has different meanings, but the two most common meanings are when you want to tell someone, excuse me. So for example, you're at a train and you want to get off. You will say, sumimasen, sumimasen. You can like touch someone on the arm, or you can just say, oh, sumimasen, and people know, oh, I have to move. So if someone is blocking the way, you can just say that and they will move. Or if you are maybe at a restaurant and you want people to basically, you know, like come to you, you could say, oh, sumimasen, and then they will know, they will come to you. Or it could even be in a situation where maybe you need some help. Maybe you want someone to take a photo of you, maybe you want to ask someone for a direction. So the very first word you should use is sumimasen. So it means sorry. And then as soon as you say sumimasen, they will know, a Japanese person will know that you need help, you have a question, or they have to move. Super important in your first trip to Japan. The next word, it is very, very useful when you are buying things. So in Japan, I'll give you also a tip. In Japan, almost everything has got the price. And if you are from a place like where I'm from Venezuela. In Venezuela and in a lot of parts of South America, I know that you love asking for discounts. Hear me out. In Japan, do not ask for discount. You will see the prices of things, and if you see a price, that's the price and that's it. So don't be like, oh sorry, how much discount? Because Japanese people will be so confused and annoyed. It's like, oh my god, they don't know that we don't do discount. So that's why I'm here on YouTube telling you. So don't ask for a discount. If you see a price, that's the price and that's it. If somehow you do not see the price and you want to ask how much, you can say sumimasen. You can point at the item that you want to buy and you say ikura desu ka? Ikura desu ka? Which means how much. So you could say, oh sorry, how much is this? Sumimasen, ikura desu ka? And they will tell you. And then the last one, it is very useful when you are at restaurants or when you are asking for something. You could say, you can point at something and be like, oh sumimasen, kudasai. And kudasai means please. So if maybe they tell you like, oh, would you like water? You could say yes, please. Or you could use the word kudasai when you're asking for something. Very, very common. Obviously, I want to tell you a lot more about Japanese words, phrases and things, but I feel that all the things that we unpacked in this video, if you follow these tips, you have your first Japan trip covered, you will have an amazing time. And as I said at the beginning of the video, if you're watching this and you're in Australia and you want to pass your IELTS and your PTE test, and you want to pass that test so that you can enter uni, so that you can get your PR, so that you can go to Japan to celebrate, all the info is in the video description, because I do preparation courses, I do individual classes, and well, look, I'm just, more than happy to help you guys. If you speak Spanish, I also do native translations. I've done translations into Australia and out to the Spanish-speaking world. So if you are from Spain, Colombia, Mexico, Argentina, Ecuador, Peru, Chile, the list goes on and on, Venezuela, I can help you with translations from Spanish into English and from English into Spanish. And now that we talked about Japan, if you are in Australia and you want to know what are the best Australian cities in 2026, this video is right here for you. So thank you so much for watching this one. Like, share, send this to a friend, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on this video.